Hello out there, educators, parents, families, community. This is Principal L, and I'm here with my buddies TJ and Joe again for another Hope Insight show. And today we come to you really in a somber mood because you've seen what is going around, in our country. On top of our children and families already suffering through COVID-19, they've now had to witness some issues with police brutality and the world waking up around the racism that has been in a part of everything that we've done. And so what we're doing as educators and leaders is we're trying to support our school families, our children, our staff members, and preparing for how we're going to face our students when we return to school. So today we're going to talk to you how you can maintain that hope, stay positive, even in dark times, because we will come out of this. We'll come out of this stronger and together. So today I'm going to ask my buddies here to talk to us about what are you planning to do when you go back to school? What do you have going planning in the summer? What are you going to do to support what you've already been doing? Because the three of us, we work together. So we've always preached about the power of equity and agency, and we've talked about diversity. We've written books and we've done all kinds of presentations to really support what it is that we need to do as educators. It's a critical moment for us. And so I wanted us to come to you today to provide some more hope and sight. So TJ, why don't you share with our audience some things that are really close to you and dear to you, because I know you've been an advocate, an ally, a supporter. Talk about some of the issues that you want to address as a leader.
Yeah, I appreciate that, El. I mean, listen, I think you said it right. It's a wake-up call. We've always had these awareness committees, cultural competency committees, groups of people who are committed to success for all. I just think now is the time to heighten that and to do much more. I take this stuff so seriously, and so do the folks who've written right into our leadership standards and our evaluation system. I challenge folks to look deep into the PCEL standards. 3E says that we will confront and alter institutional biases. That is much more than awareness and cultural competency. It's about confronting and altering. And so I'm going to bring that up with my school leaders at every chance I get. I'm going to remind folks that our job isn't just to be aware, isn't just to be educated about these things. It's to confront and to alter them, to make change. The definition of leadership is influence. The challenge of leadership is conflict. And the result of leadership is change. We won't have change without conflict. And we need more influence than ever before. This is really a call to action. Confront and alter. Joe?
TJ, you raised some great points. And I think, those listening realize in their own systems, their own schools, they've probably been doing a lot of the same work. When you say confront and alter, TJ, I think it's also time that we measure our progress. We can't get happy with just doing things and not taking a look back and saying, you know what, did it actually make a difference? And I think that speaks volumes in all our situations. So, we got to confront and alter. One thing we've talked about in our district, and this is tied similar to what you said with the PCEL standards, TJ, our own strategic plan talks about equity, talks about inclusivity, talks about educating all students. We met with our principals this past week and said, one of our biggest issues with what's going on is our kids aren't with us in our buildings. We can't put our hands on their shoulders. And we have students right now that experience a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. And we also know that not every student knows how to handle those emotions. So we really feel at a loss not to be there for our students, like in person, be able to work through that. But that also led to us thinking this summer, we're going to try to hold an equity summit, perhaps in different schools, and get them to discuss things, get them to really start to voice and how can we empower our students. And then from a district standpoint, we've talked about, how can we build these agents of change, these among our students and help them spread the word throughout the school. Because there's so much, as we've realized in COVID, that the community relies on schools for. This is something else that we have an opportunity to make a difference. And there's a great quote. I can't remember exactly who said it, but it says, just don't go through a situation. You have to grow through a situation. And I think that's the call to action as well. We start growing in these difficult times. We take our pain and we turn it into passion. And we have to realize that things like hope and love, that those aren't passive words. Now more than ever, we get active about our hope and really express our love towards one another. El?
Yeah, and I appreciate that, guys. And TJ, you mentioned sort of, some of those leadership challenges. And, and my favorite quote is, the price of leadership is conflict. So we can't be afraid of that, because that's the challenge that lies ahead of us. And Joe, when we get into these stressful situations, when we get into these challenging situations as leaders, it will test you. And this is when real leaders step up. And so if a situation doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And this is a great time for change. And so a question I'll throw back out to you guys, because I've been active on Twitter and other social media outlets, where folks are really talking about how they have been silent in the past, and they no longer want to be silent, but they want to be comfortable, and they want to do it in the right way. They don't want to offend. They want their students to be able to know that they support them. I saw even one person tweet that I want to be able to go into my school and face my students. What's some advice, maybe a word or two of encouragement that you can give to a teacher, white or black, any color, any race, who wants to go back into a school and have a conversation with their student, about race, about racism, about oppression, about injustice, about the world? What's something that you recommend?
I'll start with that. I think that's a tough question now, because
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we all are experiencing this in our own way. And I think when you decide to become an educator, though, you embrace that you're now working with students. This isn't about me. This is about kids. And I really think it begins with empathy. We have to sit back, truly analyze what we believe, how we feel, what are our wide held beliefs, and then truly step into the shoes of our students, regardless of race, but truly step into their shoes and understand what they're faced with. And how do we empower them, and then get them to also recognize what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and being able to express it. I sat my own kids down recently and had them just share without me telling. I'm constantly telling. Being a former principal, superintendent now, I find myself telling too much and not asking enough questions. And I just sat them down and asked, what do you feel? And it begins with that notion of empathy. Having a 19-year-old, 17-year-old, and a 13-year-old, I have to understand what they're thinking. And when we go back into school, I think it starts now, though. Since our kids are distant from us, we have to do something virtually if you can't get back in your school, and give them a forum. Start having conversations. Start having them to think about different issues we're being faced with. So when we go back into the fall, you can hit the ground running and continue these conversations. And you can also have student ambassadors in place to help you. But it does begin with empathy. It begins with truly suspending your own judgment, your own beliefs, and trying to put yourself in the shoes of others and take a walk, no matter how difficult it is, take a walk in their shoes for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I also think I'll add to that, Joe, that, yeah, totally. It's empathy, giving a voice to people who haven't traditionally had that voice, listening more closely to how people are feeling. We've talked a lot about dispositions. It has to do also with diversifying your staff. We wrote about that, and building a winning team. It's critical that students see themselves in the people who stand in front of them in classrooms and the leaders of our schools. But also say as a white person, we also need to educate ourselves. There's a lot of literature out there about privilege and whiteness, and understanding, those aspects of this work. And that also helps us to be more empathetic to people who aren't like us, as white educators. And so something that you said, Elle, is like people who have been silent in the past, giving them a voice. I think we have to have grace. We have to say, look, if you're willing to
Yeah.
speak up,
Yeah.
it's not about perfection. It's about progress. If you're willing to speak up for the first time, let's give these people grace so that they can have a voice too, to say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate this, and I'm not going to stay silent either.
Wow, powerful words, guys. And I have a lot of respect for you because you spent years working in communities that are serving children of color. You've stayed dedicated and committed to the education profession, that become leaders at the district level. So I have the utmost respect for you. And so for you, all you out there, you've heard it right here on the Hope Insight Show. Empathy and grace. We need more grace in this world, but we also need more love. So what we're telling you today is we don't have all the answers. We don't know. We're going through this like everybody else is. What we are is we're committed to helping to bring about change. We're committed to supporting people, but to offering grace, empathy, hope, love, and support, and just some positivity in what we know is a tough time, but we can do it together. So I want to thank you guys again for just working with me and bringing the word to the people out there who are just looking for answers and solutions. We don't have them all. We're going to keep trying. But the one thing we will do is we'll support anyone who's willing to sit at the table and say, let's work together. So to everybody out in the audience, this is another great episode of the Hope Insight Show. We want to make sure that we bring you the real every day because we're working in the field and we're trying to make a difference. We didn't take this job simply because we wanted to get paid, because we wanted the title. We chose it because we wanted to make an impact. And now is when we have to forsake compliance and make an impact. And that's why I'm proud to be a part of this team and to bring this Hope Insight Show to you every week. Please like this. Please follow us, connect with us, do whatever you can. We're on the schoolhouse302.com, principal.l.com. Find us out there in the atmosphere, and whatever you do, make sure you're connecting with another person, because right now, relationships is what will get us over these troubled waters. Thank you, and have a great week.